Hi everyone, thanks for joining the WildFly community call for January 22nd. I think we can start with the community announcement. Rand, do you want to discuss WildFly 39?
Yes, so last week, very pleased that we got, last Friday, we released WildFly 39. The release announcement is linked there. We had some new clustering features in it, including like idle time-based eviction for sessions, which is something that we've heard a number of requests for, and also new ways to configure TLS for J groups, which is important. Additional attribute to the Jakarta RESTful Web Services subsystem. We made a lot of progress on EE11 integration. We brought in Jakarta authentication, Jakarta security implementations, and Jakarta currency implementations, all based, that are actually true EE11 implementations, and WebSockets as well. So a lot of progress there. Doing well on passing the TCKs for web profile. Hopefully we'll get that done shortly, pretty soon. And a lot of component upgrades. I'm not going to go through them all, but a lot of like major components like Jackson and ThinSpan and big things like that went in. So good stuff. There's also behind the scenes scaling provisioning work that was going in and can help us when we bring out probably in WildFly 40, we're going to introduce a WildFly EE10 feature pack that we'll produce for at least a couple of releases, is my hope. That will give people a longer time to transfer off of. Once standard WildFly moves to EE11, it'll give people a little bit more of a window to transfer off of EE10 by still getting releases and bug fixes and maybe non-EE features, but without having to move all the way to 11 quite as quickly. And their conference law did good work on providing some infrastructure that's going to help make that more manageable and useful for people.
So
that's the key thing.
If you're planning to introduce a feature pack for E10 for 40, does that mean that we are planning to get Jakarta E11 for WildFly 40? Or is it still
that's what I would certainly hope. I mean,
okay.
It's, it happens when it happens, and it takes effort from lots of people. But I hope so. I think we're fairly close on web profile. And really, most of the changes in the E11 are in the web profile. So the work on the full platform, it's basically like figuring out passing TCK tests that we ought to pass because we've been passing them forever and things didn't change. But the TCK itself changed a lot, so there's going to be effort for that.
Okay.
But hopefully it's not effort in terms of like us having to change how WildFly works. It's more just okay, this what do we have to twist the knob to make that test pass, that kind of thing. So hopefully.
Okay. And is one of the change in the TCK to be able to run with Java 25?
No, the TCK was not written to support Java 25. Now that doesn't mean, well, let me figure out how to say this. For sure, the TCK is functional on Java 25. For example, we're running the web profile TCKs on Java 25, and we're getting the same results as we do on SE17 and SE21, except for one test that doesn't work properly, or I forget the details, but it's not a problem in WildFly. It's something about the TCK, how it works on SE25. So that kind of thing can happen because they wrote the test. It's like any other software, you write it for a particular SE version. Maybe something doesn't quite work the same on another one. But our intention would be to try to certify with SE17 and 21. And clearly, if we could with SE25, that'd be great. And it might take longer because you might have to go back to the various specs and say, hey, this test, you need to tweak this test so we can pass. And then you have to have a discussion and all that.
Okay. And yeah, just for the overall information, I also put the date for WildFly 40 beta, which is planned for April 2nd. So we're still on the same time box release for 40.
And also, thank you for adding that. And another thing is, we're this week or we'll probably, or maybe early next week, we'll finalize the schedule for 3901. But my prediction is either going to be, I think, February 12th or February 19th.
Okay.
Typically, our basic goal is we do the micro about 4 or 5 weeks after the feature release, and that would be either the 12th or the 19th, depending on which 4 or 5 weeks we pick.
Okay.
So we'll be sorting that out and getting that announced.
Yeah. Anyway, once it will be settled, it will be part of the calendar on wildfly.org.
Yep.
Okay. Thanks. The second announcement is Kabir posted a blog post about the Jakarta version of the A2A Java SDK. So A2A is something related to AI to do a multi-agent communication. The Java SDK is a way to do that in Java, and the version for Jakarta is a way to deploy that on Jakarta EE application server like WildFly. So the spec is still in flux. They are working towards a 1.0 spec, but it's not finalized. Still, Kabir has delivered alpha release to get a bit more up to date with the latest version of the spec. So it's still the API is still unstable, but it's closer to be ready for a 1.0 release. Okay. Then we have 2 items on the agenda. The first one was our application development guide. You want to discuss that, Brad?
Yeah, just quickly. This is something, first off, I apologize to Eduardo and Ash who worked hard on this, but a lot of their work was, there's like a separate repository for this guide, and then the actual integration to WildFly was like really trivial. So I forgot about it in the release announcement, which I will amend the release announcement to talk about this because it's new. So basically, last year on one of these calls, I think week 44, maybe, Eduardo did a presentation of plans for all sorts of things related to application development, and this is one of the things that was planned, was that we were going to integrate a new application development guide, and that happened for WildFly 39. So it's something he said was going to happen, and it did happen. So I just wanted to call that out. I encourage people to have a look. It's quite, the one we had before was quite out of date, and kind of, this is much superior. So good work to them. Thank you, Eduardo and Ashwin, for their hard work on that, and for all the other people who helped.
Yeah, that's definitely a good thing to update our doc. Okay. Then there was the sections to highlight some of the things that we are discussing. So there was a CLI problem on Windows. I'm not sure who mentioned that. Is it you, Brian? Yeah.
That was me again. Yeah, that was just thank you to, I think it was Manuel.
Yeah,
Manuel K. Yeah, I believe who reported on Monday or Tuesday a problem that if you use the CLI on Windows in interactive mode, not via scripting and stuff, but directly typing, it didn't work. Which is something that it's hard to test interactive in a test suite. So we didn't detect it. So thank you to him for reporting that. We've already fixed it in main and in the 39X branch, so it'll be fixed in 3901. But I just want to point that out in case anybody sees this and hits it. And in the JIRA for it, there's actually a workaround description. Basically, it requires a component upgrade. So there's a workaround description of how to integrate an updated version of a library that'll, if you hit this, that's how you can fix it. So.
Okay, thanks. Is there anything else that people want to discuss? When we started the meeting, one of the things that I wanted is to give this call an opportunity for projects that are part of WildFly world ecosystem to be able to present themselves, their roadmaps, and where they fit in our application server. I'm still looking for volunteers that wants to present their components, projects. So it doesn't have to be long. It can be just 10 minutes. before we recorded, we've talked, for example, about Arquillian, which is a library that we are using in our test. That is not really something that a user are aware of, but it's a key part of what makes it possible for us to deliver a stable software with a test without regressions. So yeah, I think if you have, if you want to use this code as a platform to present libraries that could be beneficial to users or that are important for WildFly, it's I think it's a great vehicle. Okay. Any other? That's a short meeting today. Any other topics to discuss?
Not for me. You've heard enough for me.
Okay. Well, in that case, we can keep the meeting short. Thanks everybody for attending. Bye. Bye everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.